On the other side, Gu Hongdi, the leader of the Ice Butterfly organization, said with a smile, "Their leader looks so weak. How can such a person lead a team? As a leader, you must have enough dignity and ability. If you can't protect your own territory and your subordinates, who will obey you?" In Gu Hongdi's view, Zhang Yi's behavior is a manifestation of cowardice. At this time, Chen Liangyu, the leader of the third force, had a cunning light in his eyes and said with a smile, "Isn't this just what we want?" Sun Jianming, Gu Hongdie, and Chen Liangyu looked at each other, and then they all showed a sinister smile on their faces. They can already determine what kind of situation Tianhai City is in now. Chaoyu Base, one of the 5 major forces in Tianhai City, its leader is actually just a Gamma-level mutant who was hung up and beaten by Sun Jianming. In Days City, this level is at most the captain level, and they came here deliberately to find trouble, in fact, to confirm the strength of other organizations in Tianhai City. But the result is that they insulted them wantonly. But those people didn't even dare to talk back and fled in disgrace. "This is a very good opportunity," Sun Jianming said in a deep voice. Gu Hongdi looked at the two with a smile. "It's rare for the 3 of us to get together. Why don't we find a place to have a good drink and chat?" Sun Jianming and Chen Liangyu readily agreed to Gu Hongdi's proposal. They all knew what each other was thinking. Now there are external forces interfering in the Jiangnan region, and several major forces in the surrounding areas of Tianhai City have participated in the encirclement and suppression of the wanderers in Linhai City. At this time, no one will care what happened in Tianhai City. They didn't sign up for that task. The purpose is to eat the fat meat of Tianhai City. Don't look at Zhu Zheng's righteous words, not allowing them to fight internally. But as long as they take over the territory of Tianhai City first, there are naturally many ways to explain it. For example, help brother cities maintain public security and targeted support for poor and weak areas. As long as the facts are established first, then the Jiangnan region will not say anything. Who will speak up for the weak? Zhang Yi left first and walked towards the apartment. He planned to see Bailey Changqing again and go to Deng Shentong's appointment, and then go back to Tianhai City if he had nothing to do. Zhang Yi had already seen the inner thoughts of this group of birdmen in Days City. These guys must have thought that the forces in Tianhai City were weak and could be bullied, so they had the idea of taking action. Then there is no doubt that it is most appropriate for them to take action while the Ronin are attacking and the district's mind is there. At that time, Zhang Yi will give them a big surprise. Xiao Honglian and Chen Jingguan followed. Chen Jingguan kept looking at Zhang Yi in front of him, stammering and not daring to say a word, but in his heart, he was still a little unhappy with Zhang Yi's behavior. Being humiliated in front of others, Zhang Yi is the boss of Tianhai City now. Don't you even dare to talk back? Xiao Honglian and Zhang Yi have a closer relationship after all. She helped Zhang Yi in the past. In addition, she is a woman and has an advantage in gender. Even if she asks Zhang Yi, she can't be angry. So she walked up and tried to smile and said, "Zhang Yi, we don't have any objections to your behavior. It's just that you didn't have to have that attitude towards them just now, right?" "What kind of attitude?" Zhang Yi glanced at her and asked coldly. It gives people a feeling of weakness. You obviously didn't have to do that," Xiao Honglian said. Zhang Yi sneered disdainfully. He put his hands in his pockets and glanced at Chen Jingguan behind him with a hint of contempt in his eyes. "Then what do you think is the right thing for me to do? Fight with them, and then be punished for violating the management regulations of Blizzard City? Or immediately fight back and quarrel with them like a shrew? There are so many of them. Can you quarrel with them?" Zhang Yi shook his head. "Don't do meaningless things." Xiao Honglian said, "But if you do this, people will think that Tianhai City is weak and can be bullied." "Ha ha ha! That's not my fault!" Zhang Yi sneered. Chen Jingguan behind him blushed and quickly buried his head. Zhang Yi was clearly pointing at him. Xiao Honglian wanted to say something else, but Zhang Yi was a little impatient. "Why should I, Zhang Yi, explain to you what I do?" This sentence choked Xiao Honglian back. She didn't dare to ask more questions, so she could only bow her head helplessly and said, "Don't be angry. I'm just asking casually." Then she stepped aside. After arriving at the apartment, Chen Jingguan went to heal his wounds, and the others returned to their rooms. Everyone has concerns in their hearts, especially the three major base organizations who are worried about the future situation of Tianhai City. Even now, facing the oppression of the three major mutant organizations in Days City, they can only endure it silently. To put it bluntly, even if the three of them join forces, their strength is not as good as that of one. Xiao Honglian thought of taking to Zhang Yi again, but Xin Tian stopped her and said, "Things are different now, and we can't rely too much on Zhang Yi. We might as well take this opportunity to think carefully about our future." On the other hand, on Zhang Yi's side, everyone also gathered in a room. After closing the doors and windows, Liang Yue was the first to ask, "Zhang Yi, when are we going to take action?" Zhang Yi is not the kind of person who accepts it. Others have bullied him. How could he be indifferent? He didn't get angry at that time just because it was not the right time. Zhang Yi sat on the sofa chair and heard this, and the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. "We are not the active party. We need to wait for them to make the first move." "Wait for them to make the first move?" Liang Yue couldn't help but frowned, and the others were also curious about Zhang Yi's decision. "Won't we be in a passive position in this way?" Zhang Yi looked at everyone with a smile. "Oh, then tell me, what should we do?" The always wretched Fatty Shu stood up boldly at this time. He gritted his teeth and said, "Those guys are so hateful. I can't stand it when they humiliated us in front of so many people. If you ask me, let's just run to their way back to Days City in advance and kill them." Fatty Shu looked at Zhang Yi and smiled suddenly. "With your strength, isn't it easy to kill them?" Zhang Yi asked back. "Oh, do you know their strength?" This ... Fatty Shu was speechless. How could he know the strength of the mutant organization in Days City? Zhang Yi asked again, "Do you know my strength?" Fatty Shu was about to say something, but when he saw Zhang Yi's playful eyes, he shut his mouth tactfully. The others also looked at Zhang Yi, all intending to listen to what he would do next. Zhang Yi said to them very seriously, "Since you are all my own people, I will tell you the truth. First of all, my strength is not as good as Yuan Kongye's. Even if she was at that level, her energy was not completely absorbed, not to mention that her origin was also incomplete at the beginning. This may be related to her energy attribute. So, don't think that I now have the strength of Epsilon. In fact, I can only be regarded as a relatively strong existence in Delta. Also, don't underestimate anyone. You have seen Sun Jianming's strength. He can completely defeat Chen Jingguan. As for the leaders of the other two forces, I am afraid they are not much different from him. It is a very stupid thing to act rashly before figuring out the other party's ability. And we are going to kill them without knowing anything? Isn't this blind arrogance?" Zhang Yi's words gave everyone a very strange idea. For some reason, they all subconsciously thought that Zhang Yi's strength had reached, at least close to, the level of Yuan Kongye. Yuan Kongye's destructive power had left a deep impression on them, so much so that they thought that Zhang Yi could also rely on his own strength to casually slaughter the mutants below Epsilon. But at this time, it sounded completely different. Zhou Ke'er was very smart to realize the problem. In fact, if you talk about it carefully, even if we count the troops of the three major bases, we have a large gap with the opponent in terms of overall strength. The only advantage is that Zhang Yi's strength is above them. But we only analyze this through common sense, and we can't even be sure of their abilities. Therefore, it is not a wise move to attack rashly and go over to kill in advance. Zhang Yi nodded approvingly. He looked at Fatty Shu and Uncle Yu and said, "You are all blinded by anger. Remember my words, to survive in the end times, you must always stay rational." Zhang Yi's explanation convinced everyone. This is also his usual style of doing things. He will never put himself in danger because of complacency. How can there be invincibility? Yuan Kongye thought so at the beginning, but she died at the hands of Zhang Yi, who was far inferior to her. Zhang Yi will not make the same mistake. A lion fights a rabbit with all its strength. Don't worry. Instead of rushing to find them angrily and revealing a lot of flaws, it is better to wait for them to tire themselves out and fight on our homeland, Zhang Yi said with a smile, his eyes flashing with wisdom. In fact, he already had a plan to deal with those people in his heart. Fatty Shu laughed and said, "Boss, I knew you wouldn't let them go so easily." Zhang Yi shrugged. "It can't be said that I won't let them go. It should be said that they will definitely come to die."